Hey, welcome. Thanks for watching. My name is Ruben. I'm Senior Technologist at Nutanix and joined by Paul Murray, subject matter expert, end-user computing. No Paul for...
Something like that,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
an expert on end-user computing. We'll talk about that. Paul worked 17 years at Citrix,
Yeah.
joined Nutanix 3 years ago. Just want to have a chat about why you joined Nutanix, end-user computing, VDI, desktop as a service developments, customer focus. So
Okay.
yeah, maybe start with yourself.
Yeah,
Like,
so like you said, I was at Citrix for 17 years in various roles. So myself, as you said, name is Paul Murray. I live in Sweden today. I've lived in, Switzerland for 20 years. I was born in the UK. Got a farm. That's me. So outside of this technology world, You're
a farmer.
A real life. Got a farmer. Yeah. So different story. I won't go through that one. But I was at Citrix for 17 years in Switzerland, a couple of years in Sweden, various roles. Some of them was as an SE, so the classic sort of SE job, going to customers, talking about the technology. Then 7 years in what Citrix termed field readiness or technical enablement. Mm-hmm. So it was everything related to the XenApp and desktop technologies, training partners, training our SEs. I still say our. After 17 years, I still say our. To train the Citrix SEs. We're a big family, so
Yeah, exactly.
Our SEs.
all together now, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And then 3 years at Nutanix. So one of the reasons I changed to Nutanix was the understanding the Citrix technology. I'll try and put it politely, sort of uncovered what I would see as, if you look at an architectural perspective, limitations. That was the design. So if you actually look at the technology, or this virtual desktop infrastructure stuff, whether it's the XenApp Zen desktop technology or Horizon View, they work most effectively, most performantly with local storage. You just can't change that. Because of the Nutanix architecture and again the way it works, we basically present a single storage fabric to those hosts. So those hosts where those virtual machines are running, they assume that they're running local storage.
So the best performance, low latency.
They get the best performance. The technical term that we talk about is data locality. Mm-hmm. There's been various vendors that try to fix that problem. And like I said, what we do, or what Nutanix does, is we have data local to that virtual machine as is required. So you're always going to get the best performance.
And still keep like availability.
Yeah. Yeah,
because
so
it's
it has a multitude of knock-on effects. So primarily it's for performance, but when you look at the actual technology, the architecture, you can take that out or extend that to disaster recovery. So we need to protect the data as well. So we'll replicate it somewhere else. So that means it's already been replicated. So if something happens, if a host fails, that data is partially already there.
Yep.
So the replication is a lot quicker. So that's what fascinated me about Nutanix.
Good. Yeah, that makes you smile.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Still.
So in your role, you're focused both on Citrix and VMware and Frame.
Yeah.
Is Frame a Citrix competitor?
People want to believe it is. It's not. So the way I'll talk to customers about that is, you can look at the Citrix VMware technologies. I tend to call that traditional VDI nowadays. So on-prem, I guess, is the correct wording. If you look at Frame,
that's how I rolled into IT like 20 years ago.
Yeah, so
nothing wrong with that.
So you go back many years. One of the presentations I started to do recently is, what is EUC? It's everything related to running something on your end computer. So it's not just VDI, it's not just Citrix, not just VMware.
I call it get stuff done. All the tools you need to get stuff done.
Yeah,
or to get,
it's exactly that.
To get stuff done is probably
exactly
more
So I'm an EUC expert, so I know everything about. No, I don't. I understand the Citrix stuff. I understand the VMware stuff to a certain extent. But to go to the question, Frame, is it a competitor? No. Frame, I mean, you know this better than I do from your days at Frame.
Sure.
It's a DaaS solution, so it's desktop as a service. It has specific use cases, just like Citrix has specific use cases. Citrix doesn't fix everything.
Sure.
You have a proper use case. Citrix is that choice. If you have the right use case for Frame, Frame is that choice. I would think what we're going to see over the next few years is as Nutanix develops Frame to be an on-prem solution, that question, is it going to be more competitive to Citrix or VMware, is going to get stronger, it's going to get louder, but it's not a competitive solution. It's finding the right solution, the right technology.
And also fundamentally,
for that.
Frame is started differently. So fundamentally, Frame is different. If you ask me, like there is overlap in some use cases for sure, and I totally agree. It starts with use cases, starts to understand what the customer needs, requires, what the challenge is. But there are also very clear differentiations, and I think if we focus on the differences, that makes life easier. And there is maybe a small overlap, but
so
you described earlier the biggest competitor is not, maybe strange, VMware versus Nutanix, or Nutanix versus Citrix, or pick the vendor, but it's also more broader focus on end user computing. It's like the physical PC, or maybe just web application, mobile apps. So I think we should focus more on the one EUC.
So that's a very important point to make, or it's a very important discussion point, is EUC is such a big environment. I mean, you can talk about mobile device management, that is EUC. That has nothing to do with Citrix VDI technology or
Frame,
Frame in the cloud, or Frame on-prem, or ESX VDI or Horizon View VDI technology. EUC manages that mobile devices, so it's a part of the solution. Now, sort of turning the conversation around is when, as an SE in Sweden and Nutanix talking to customers, you'd be challenged with how do we get Nutanix into that customer?
Of course.
Sometimes it was VDI based, other times it was a database application. You get the solution in, and then you can start adding in different pieces.
And when you joined Nutanix like 3 years ago, the VDI EUC piece was bigger.
It was a big use case.
Or more use cases are being added. So it seems that the VDI use case becomes smaller, but because of business critical apps, Robo, other use cases are being added to the
So again, it's believe the statistics you made up yourself. Should I say that in these things? It's that there are numbers. I mean, we've all got numbers about how to represent the number of use cases or whatever. So if you go back 10 years ago to when Nutanix started, we had the first $100 million worth of deals. 80 million of those, as far as I know, were VDI related. Of that 80 million, then 80% was Citrix, 20% was Horizon View. And
largest deployment in the world, even today, Horizon-based, are running Nutanix.
So there are very, very big deployments. And to go back to the point, you're talking percentages. So back then, you take it 80% of the initial deployments were VDI based. You look today, you say 24%. The first impression customers get is it reducing? So the actual percentual number is reducing, but the number of deployments is increasing.
Exactly.
So as we get bigger and bigger, we've got more and more deployments on Nutanix. EUC VDI is one of those, business critical applications, so SQL databases, SAP HANA, whatever. To a certain extent, that's also EUC related. Those applications that those users are accessing could be an SAP front end. So it's the numbers.
We're in a good spot. I like EUC a lot.
Take another data center.
Good. How do you see this space, like maybe 2 years or 3 years from now? We look at like VDI, DaaS, and Nutanix. What is your take on that? I didn't ask that question before. We didn't prep.
No, so none of this has been prepped. It really is off the cuff, which is why I'm probably this nervous smile. But where do I see it going? So, today we're talking about VDI on-prem. We're talking about DaaS solutions. We also, at the same time, talk about hybrid cloud. So, at one point in time, we're going to join those two worlds together. So you can have the VDI solution on-prem. That could be Citrix, could be Horizon, it could be Frame in 2 years' time. You're going to have the desktop as a service in the cloud solutions. Okay. So I think what
so the question is, where's the data? And then you want to bring these apps, desktop delivery services, to closer to the data.
Yes. So I think what we need to do, what we need to work out is the user will start some sort of device. We talked about this for many, many years, whether it's Citrix, Horizon, or
any.
You've got your device, you authenticate, you want to access a resource. Now, if you are in an environment that is insecure, you may just want to be able to view that information. That's where a desktop as a service solution is ideal. Mm-hmm. It presents you the desktop, and you can start to work with it on your mobile phone, or you can start to consume it. The same user could go back into the main offices, and they're doing some sort of AutoCAD or 3D development or whatever, and they need these high-powered workstations using a lot of technology.
Using Frame? Oh.
Using Frame, Citrix, or Horizon.
Exactly, yeah, agree.
The technology will have the ability to be able to adapt to that environment.
Agree.
So going from these small devices, the iPhones, the Androids or whatever, to these massive multi-monitor devices, the technology decides what do I use to get that information out. Mm-hmm. I think that's where we're going to be, that we'll be seeing a lot more of in the next few years. The product below that,
should be invisible.
From
that perspective. Yeah.
The invisible data center is what D-Ranch keeps on talking about. So that's where we're going.
Great. Thanks for your time, Paul. Thanks for your insights.
My pleasure.
It was a fun chat. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.